Outside the Buffalo Bills bar here in New York City. The place was absolutely lit, but gosh, you got to be heartbroken for Bills fans after that AFC Championship game. 32-29, Kansas City. New York City, I mean, Buffalo, they're the only NFL team in the state of New York, quite literally. And this place was ready to go crazy. We're right outside a fire station in New York, but we're at a Pennsylvania 6, the Bills bar, and my goodness. You know, with Kansas City, the play in this game, there are two plays that I look back at. One was the quarterback sneak, where I thought Josh Allen certainly got it. I mean, I saw the football over the 40 or whatever the yard line needed to be, but I guess Chris Jones was in the way. But what I found to be ridiculous is that the official on one side came in ahead of the first down and the official on the other side came in behind the first down. Why does the official who came in behind the first down have precedence over the official that came in ahead of the first down? I thought the guy that came in ahead of the first down actually had the better angle. And then Dalton Kincaid dropped that fourth down. When Kincaid dropped that, I immediately remembered Xavier Worthy somehow wrestling away the fourth down, or it wasn't the fourth down, wrestling away what should have been an interception on the other side. And a lot went the Chiefs' way today. That wasn't just the calls. And I'm talking about one of the calls on the fourth down that Josh Allen got stuffed on. But those two catches, or one catch and one non-catch for Dalton Kincaid, those are the ones that stand out. Because Josh Allen, he might have gotten away with a couple bad throws early on. He played an epic game. He did what he needed to. And Buffalo took over this game on the ground in the second half, but then they could not pick up that first down on the 4th and 1. And to me, that was the death knell in this game, because they're up 22-21 at that time. They were running the football. They were driving down the field. If they pick up that first down, they eat more clock. I think they get at least a field goal, but they might score a touchdown. And they didn't. So who's not watching the Super Bowl? I'm watching it, but Lombardi herself, who's not watching the Super Bowl? Lombardi herself. She was going to be on the show. Lombardi herself was pulling for the Bills. I had to be neutral, but you watch that game. Buffalo's lost 4 straight Super Bowls in its franchise history. They lost the 13-second game to Kansas City a couple years ago in the AFC divisional playoffs, and now Buffalo loses this one. Just that their hearts ripped out in this one. Now, there were a couple calls, I have to call it out, in the first half. Ed Oliver was not offsides on the play that was called offsides, and the fumble was forced from Patrick Mahomes. Now, Mahomes, I believe, fumbled later in that drive anyway, so, I mean, that was justice, I guess, but it still allowed the Chiefs to get a few more plays offensively, and stuff like that adds up in a close game. So Oliver was definitely not offsides. He timed that well, and obviously the call aired on the side of the Chiefs. There was the 4th down run for Josh Allen in this game, and then there was a phantom face mask called on the Bills in the first half that also had a big impact on this football game, even though the hand never grabbed the face mask on the play. I forgot who it was called against, but those are the ones that stood out to me. Also, the delay of game that wasn't called against Kansas City before the 2-minute warning, where the play clock was clearly ahead of the game clock, but they let it run to 2 minutes, and that allowed the Chiefs to score a touchdown. What stood out the most is that everybody was afraid of hitting Patrick Mahomes down the stretch. So it isn't necessarily about what was called, it's about the downstream effect of all the calls and all the flops over the years. Because when the AFC Championship is on the line and somebody's running toward the goal line and NFL defenders are afraid to hit him, that is a huge competitive issue in this game. And Mahomes running touchdown there late in the 4th quarter, the Bills eased up like nobody wanted to hit him. I think the way to win that game, but they should have just sucked it up and lit him up. Because what's going to happen? Personal foul at the 2, half the distance to the goal. But people are trained at this point to back off because you know there's going to be hell to pay with the personal foul flags if you don't. So I think that really came back to bite Buffalo in this game. It was the cumulative gun shyness, the fear, whatever you want to call it, Patrick Mahomes so many times today was able to run without fear of getting hit. And when so much is on the line, old school football would dictate that you have to pay for it at the goal line. You're going to have to take a bruise to get across the goal line. And this game, it was like this game of touch football at the goal line. And obviously the rules aren't touch football. The rules are that if Patrick Mahomes' knee doesn't go down ahead of the goal line, it's a touchdown. So if the Bills are playing touch football, but the actual rules are you got to tackle him, well, the Bills are going to be in big trouble. And that's what ended up happening in this football game. So we've got Chiefs, Eagles, rematch of the Super Bowl a couple years back. I know that a lot of 49ers fans aren't going to be happy about that. I talked about the Philadelphia win. They just killed Washington, though. What was it, 55-27, I want to say? 24, yeah. Philadelphia has the run game to run it down anybody's throat. And I think that is really, really important when it comes to beating Kansas City. And Buffalo in that second half of this football game was able to start taking control of this game running. Obviously, their luck ran out on that fourth down that I think Josh Allen clearly converted. The replay officials thought differently or said differently. But if you can grab control of the arm wrestling match on the ground, which is something that Saquon Barkley and that Eagles offensive line, although they're injured right now, that's something they can do. That's something that can give them control over the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be a close game, just like it was last time. And, you know, on a 49ers note, since I covered the 49ers, the Eagles, the way they resurrected after the 49ers broke them in 2023, ironically, they employed the formula that the 49ers are going to have to employ to get back on the horse in 2025. So that was the blueprint, right? Philadelphia, they replace defensive coordinators. They bring in Vic Fangio. The defense goes from the 20s. The 49ers finished number 26 this year, goes up to number 3. They bring in a star running back, Saquon Barkley. 49ers replaced Nick Sorensen with Robert Saleh. They're going to have to hope that defense goes back up to the top 10, maybe even the top 5. And they're bringing in Christian McCaffrey. They basically didn't have Christian McCaffrey this past season. As I cover this offseason, I think I'm going to be talking a lot about how the 49ers are going to fortify the offensive line and also restock the defense in the way that the Eagles were able to restock the defense. But a lot of the lens through which we cover the next 2 weeks heading up to the Super Bowl will be looking at how the Eagles specifically were able to bounce back from the disaster that ended the 2023 season to do what they have and win the NFC Championship in 2024. And they're going to be the ones that have a chance to stop this Kansas City three-peat. Mike says, can anyone beat the Chiefs? Well, the last team to have a chance to beat the Chiefs is the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's how we're going to cover it. That is 17 straight wins in one-score games for Kansas City. And, you know, just as somebody who knows a little bit of statistics, I took a stats class at Stanford. I think that counts as something. That's borderline impossible to do on an even playing field in the NFL. 17 straight wins in one-score games. And we saw a lot go Kansas City's way today, not just from the angle of officiating, but again, I look back at the drop from Dalton Kincaid and I look at the catch from Xavier Worthy. You've got to give Kansas City credit in that regard, but there are a lot of breaks they got today where they probably don't deserve much credit. And Buffalo, absolutely devastated. We can rotate around here and we could see the Bills bar. If I could zoom in. There's that Buffalo flag. Bills fans here in New York City, they had a chance. They couldn't get it done. All right, we're going to go eat some pizza. We're off to, and we're going to walk by one of these street meat trucks, which is really nice. But I think we're getting pizza, right? Pizza's the way to go. We're going to go down to the West Village. That was worth it, though. I was really happy that we did that. We decided to fly all the way out to New York just to watch the Bills play in the AFC Championship game. Not really. We got more to do on this trip. Headed across the Atlantic Ocean tomorrow. I'm going to give you guys a quick look at Madison Square Garden. They say it's the most famous arena in the world, and I think that might be a good place to end the show, right by the street meet, actually. There's Lombardi herself. And there is Madison Square Garden with Penn Station underneath it. 7th Avenue here in New York City. Let's go this way and get on the train. Anyway, that's it. Buffalo loses 32-29. Kansas City headed to the Super Bowl against the Philadelphia Eagles. Mike says we have 666 viewers. That's not good. It's a bad omen. Mike has called that out ever since the Super Bowl last year when that number seemed to continue to repeat itself. Now we're at 657. That's good. I think it's safe to sign off. You guys can let me know your thoughts later, but we're going to go eat. Everybody take care from the Big Apple.